Good soggy morning, good wet morning, good great to be here morning. We appreciate you joining us today as we celebrate the lives and the sacrifices of our veterans. We're honored to have so many of our veterans here today, and I must mention one that is near and dear to our heart. Mr. Jackie Bain is with us today. Can we please give him a well-deserved round of applause? Thank you for joining us, Jackie. We love you. We love you. Thank you. And we have an interesting and moving program to share with you, and we will start with Councilman Alan Garrison providing our invocation. Alan?
Let us pray. Father, I know that no one understands sacrifice more than you. This Veterans Day, I'm reminded of those who sacrificially served our country. You know every one of them by name and know the hardships that they have faced. Your word says that there is no greater love than to lay down your life for your friends. Our veterans have lived out this very truth by risking their lives for the protection and peace of our nation. I want to thank you for every man and woman who gave their all in service to this country of ours. It is no small task to train with such discipline and to step out into the battlefield, yet so many bravely filled in the gap and marched forward on behalf of our people. In protecting our nation, they have given their lives to protect our freedoms. Thank you for their courage and bravery. May they know how deeply grateful we are for them and for their courageousness that will forever hold a place in our memories, hearts, and history. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you, Alan. What a beautiful prayer. Now we will have the presentation of our colors offered by the Catawba Ridge High School Navy ROTC, and what a great group they are.
Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Left, face. Counter march, march. Color guard, halt. Present. Colors.
All right. I have to take a moment as they do that because I think that's so special. Thank you. Please join us as Councilman Chris Wolf leads us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Wolf. We are now honored and pleased to have U.S. Army Disabled Combat Veteran Donald Cook present the national anthem.
Ready,
Thank you, Don.
cut. Right, face. Forward, march.
We're very fortunate today to be joined by our Congressman, Ralph Norman. Ralph said he has a presentation that should last about an hour and a half, so if you take your seats. And I know he's kidding because he's usually direct and right to the point. So if you would, let's welcome Congressman Ralph Norman.
Y'all should have seen Gwen's face when I told her. One, I said, Gwen, I hate you squeaked by in the last election, which she won overwhelmingly, and then I told her I had an hour and a half to talk. But no, it's a real privilege and an honor to be in Fort Mill, especially with our veterans who are here. The courage, the sacrifice that each one of you have shown is exemplary, and I can tell you, you exemplify what Winston Churchill said at the height of the battle with Germany, when he said there'll be a time when doing your best is not good enough. We must do what's required. Never before have we needed that today, the courage that each one of you veterans have shown. We need that today to protect the freedom that you mentioned, Alan, in our prayer. I pray to God that we will find that courage and that sense of duty to preserve our freedom. God bless each and every one of you. God bless America.
Thank you, Ralph. I couldn't agree more. I would like to mention some very special folks that are here with us today. You've seen Councilman Chris Wolf, Alan Garrison, and Councilwoman Lisa Cook. We also have Debbie Cloninger, our county councilwoman, joining us today. The Miss South Carolina Strawberry Queen, Brantley House. The Mrs. South Carolina Strawberry Queen, Christina Teaver, who is quite a force of nature in the volunteer area of our community. Thank you for everything you do, Christina. Over to my right, we have the Zeta Phi Beta sorority handing out programs and care packages to our vets. Let's give them a great round of applause for being so considerate of us and being out here in the rain today. Thank you. We also have Positive Action service dogs for veterans Ray Fernandez. So, all right. And actually, now we're going to have veteran Ray Fernandez speak about Positive Action service dogs, which I'm a huge dog lover, so let's give him our attention.
Thank you. This is Maddie, my service dog. I'm a Marine. I served 1966 to 1970. In 1968 and 69, I was in Vietnam. I would just like to say this one thing. It took 45 years for somebody to say this to me, and I'd like to express this to every man and woman here that's a veteran right now. Welcome home. And I hope that you pass that along to anybody else. I think that's a very important thing to go for everybody to be aware of. Positive Action, and that's P-A-W. Don't hear very well, so I thought it was positive action when I heard it, but it's positive. P-A-W-S-I-T-I-V-E. And it's an organization, it's positiveaction.org. And if you go on the website, you'll see that what we do is we offer dogs, service dogs, to veterans, and there is no charge. And even Mr. Norman asked me, well, how do you do that? Well, there's a lady named Norma Ross who started the organization back in 2008. They moved up here to South Carolina 2 years ago. They have a farm, and what they do is they have a program where they breed the dogs and they offer them to the veterans. But if a veteran has their own dog as well, then what they do is they offer training for that dog. So the training lasts anywhere from 12 weeks to 52 weeks, believe it or not. And they have classes to train your dog. I think Adam out there's got a dog named Rusty. Dee is out there, another Vietnam vet, and he's got his little dog. The dogs are trained by us, and the classes are led by Norma Ross, John, and several of the other trainers. And what we do is we help the veteran acclimate that dog so that that dog becomes a service dog for that particular veteran. Now, there's a lot of misnomers, a lot of myths about what a service dog would be. As you see Maddie's pretty laid back. Well, dogs don't guard the veteran. That's kind of a misnomer. What they provide for you is a buddy. In fact, we have a program called the Life Buddy or the Life Companion for the dog. So if a person doesn't want to go through the training as much and just wants a dog, all veterans, particularly those that have disabilities, can benefit by obtaining a dog. And what the dog did, for me personally, I'd like to share that. It gets you out of your head. So you have all these demons and you have difficulties maybe going to stores, maybe going to out in public to restaurants and things like this. Well, what the dog does, it affords you the opportunity to get out of your own head. So when I go into a store with Maddie, I'm always concerned and focused on her versus everything else that's going on around me that may trigger or be a cue for something that I have to deal with on a basic level. As a lot of people understand, all disabilities are not visible. And what we do at Positive Action with the service dogs is we deal with everybody from people that need wheelchairs to people that have lost limbs to individuals that have PTSD, and you can't really see if there's anything wrong with them. But what it does is it makes their life a little bit better. There's a snapshot of their life that makes their life just a little bit easier to deal with all the problems that they may see. As everybody knows that has seen combat, it's not a particularly heroic things like you see in the movies. There are things that happen that kind of just alter your whole life. And what these dogs do at Positive Action, they provide support for you. They supply those things that are necessary so that you can lead your everyday life very effectively without having to worry about what's behind you and things like that. I know Mr. Norman's got my back right here because I don't typically like people to be behind me, number one. But there's a lot of things that these dogs offer. Now, what we do is we train 2 times a week. She trains on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So if you're a veteran that has to work for a living and works during the week, it gives you an opportunity to come on Saturday and still get a service dog. She interviews everybody. She then decides what class to put you in, and then you start the training. And what they teach you to do is how to train the dog yourself so that when you take that dog home, you can interact with that dog and make that dog a very special part of your family. They're good with kids, they're good with everything. And the kinds of dogs that she raises are like Maddie, which is called actually a Goldador. And they have the best attitude of any dog that I know of. They're 75% Golden Retriever and they're 25% Labrador. So I would offer everybody the opportunity to call us. Dan over there has cards and he has flyers that you can get, and he has a number. Actually, Dan is our guy that answers the phones and puts everything together. Our training, last and not least, our training is done. Everybody knows where Adna Church is in Rock Hill. It's on Adna Church Road. And right across the street from the church is the Family Center that is a big gymnasium. So we utilize that gymnasium. They do that for us, and we're very, very grateful. And all of our training takes place there. But if you have a family member or anybody else, I would encourage you to at least make the call and check it out. It may change somebody's life. Thank you.
What a wonderful program. I hope that if they need donations, we'll all be generous and give our support. Please give a warm welcome to our 2023 South Carolina Miss Strawberry Queen, Brantley House.
Good morning. So this is a poem. It's called The Best Day on Earth, a Veterans Day Tribute. If someone has done military service, they earn the title veteran and more. They earn our deep respect and admiration that they are special, no one can ignore. They sacrifice the comforts we enjoy. The list is long of all the things they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. They're loyal, dedicated, true, and brave. When terror and invasion were real threats, They showed us they could handle any storm. We owe our freedoms and our very lives to our veterans who served in uniform. Our veterans should be celebrities. They're exceptional, no other group compares. We're grateful for the many things they've done. They're always in our hearts and in our prayers. We owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question what they're worth. These men and women served us and our country, our veterans, the very best on earth. This is by Joanna Fuchs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As an opportunity, I get to offer a few comments. And, there are times that I've done this that it runs to something from some philosopher or some veteran. And then there are times that I kind of speak what's in my heart. And today it's a blend of the two. There are many events, presentations, programs, and gatherings in our community. Not one would be possible without the service and sacrifice of our veterans. We stand here in assembly to thank them, to honor them. Our world has experienced many wars where men and women gave up their freedom, their home, their lives, their families, their bodies, and in some cases, their lives. These men and women not only respond to the war, but to civil crisis, disruptions of peace all around the world, and aggressions which seem to be growing. Daily, we are informed of new unrest, new anger. It is frightening, sad, and at times unimaginable. We live in a country built on the lives of our veterans and experience the greatest freedoms of any country in the world, and yet we can't seem to get along. Ronald Reagan said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. I have a son. I have 2 daughters. I have 3 grandsons and 2 granddaughters. And I pray that they never have to leave their homes and families to fight for us. To the parents and loved ones, and I'm staring at some of those right now, that have fought and continue to do so, I am humbled and deeply thankful that your loved ones stepped up, were brave, had courage. They embody duty and love for us all. Thank you. Our guest speaker today is one of the brave and courageous veterans that serves us all. Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Baker, Commander 4-39th Infantry, I'm sure I slaughtered that, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Lieutenant Colonel Baker is a 2005 graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point. He was originally commissioned as an infantry officer and served as an airborne rifle platoon leader and operations officer in the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Liberty, North Carolina. In January of 2007, he deployed to Baghdad for 15 months as part of the surge. Following his return from Iraq, Lieutenant Colonel Baker was selected for Special Forces training. In 2011, he completed Special Forces qualification, earning his Green Beret, and was then assigned to the 3rd Special Forces Group Airborne at Fort Liberty, North Carolina. With the 3rd Group, he was deployed to Afghanistan from 2012 to 2013 and again in 2014. Amidst all this, he achieved his master's degree from the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California, and was again assigned to the 3rd Special Forces Group Airborne, where he was deployed as a company commander to Niger. After completing assignments as a battalion operations officer and battalion executive officer in the 3rd SFG, he was deployed again to Iraq in 2019 and 2020, to Syria in 2020, and Jordan in 2022. In June of 2023, Lieutenant Colonel Baker assumed command of 4th BN 39th Infantry Regiment at Fort Jackson here in South Carolina, where he turned civilians into the finest soldiers in the world. His awards and decorations include the Bronze Star Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters, the Joint Service Commendation, I'm really getting tongue-tied here, Commendation Medal with oak leaf cluster, the Army Commendation Medal with oak leaf cluster, the Joint Service Achievement Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, the Special Forces Tab, the Ranger Tab, Combat Infantryman's Badge, and the Expert Infantry, but you guys try to do this, badge, the Senior Parachutist Wings, and the Military Free Fall Badge. Needless to say, where I stumble over the words, this gentleman stumbles over nothing. He takes everything as important, and he serves us all. Let's give him a round welcome.
Madam Mayor, thank you so much for that warm invitation. Congressman Norman, also thank you for your presence here today. People of Fort Mill, and especially our veterans, thank you for being here as we celebrate Veterans Day and recognize all who've served our nation with honor and distinction. Veterans have earned our undying gratitude, and the American people must never forget their sacrifices. Today is a reminder that the Army's people are its greatest strength, and taking care of them and ensuring them ready to fight and win our nation's wars is our top priority. Prospective soldiers observe how we take care of our soldiers and our veterans as they consider serving themselves. The Army is committed to the success of our soldiers pre-enlistment to after separation. In fact, about half of the Department of the Army's civilian workforce is made up of Army veterans. Duty to our country is a prime reason people want to serve in the Army, but the Army is also an amazing career. Be all you can be in the Army. Soldiers are a diverse set of professionals who have unique skills and experiences, making them invaluable contributors to their organizations and communities once they are done with service. Despite this, only 1% of our nation presently serves in the military, and 61% of those who serve are more likely to have been exposed to military through friends and family. It's an indicator that veterans have firsthand knowledge of the benefits of a military career and can bridge the gap between those who are familiar with military life and those who've never considered a career in the military. If you are a veteran, I encourage you to share the positive stories about your service on this Veterans Day. Veteran stories connect Americans with the value of the Army, the military, and service, and inspire the next generation to serve. For nearly a century, we observe Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended fighting along the Western Front at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. In 1938, Congress made Armistice Day an official annual national holiday, and in 1954, the name was changed to Veterans Day. While Memorial Day is a time to remember those who died in service to their country, Veterans Day is a time to remember all those who have served, past and present. Many of our surviving veterans are members of what we call an all-volunteer force. For those unfamiliar with the military, when we say an all-volunteer force, we don't mean that the soldiers are not paid for their work. What we mean is that soldiers, Marines, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, Navy seamen choose to serve. They volunteer. You earn a paycheck and countless other valuable and financial educational benefits. More than that, the military sets the conditions for being part of a close-knit community held together by lifelong bonds with fellow servicemen and veterans. You can be all you can be in the Army, and the strength of our force is reflected in the quality and professionalism of our people. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the all-volunteer force. If you are a veteran who served your country, I want to personally say thank you for your commitment to keeping our country safe and being part of the best military in the world. In the Army, we consider our greatest asset to be our people. Our all-volunteer Army and military is a credit to Americans of all races, genders, and creeds, and our common commitment to the defense of and love for a country binds us, unites us together. That goes to the heart of what it means to be an American. As a nation, we must ensure that the service and sacrifice of our veterans is never overlooked or forgotten. The Army believes that a soldier is a soldier for life and is committed to removing the barriers to success both in and out of the Army. In the United States, we have about 18 million veterans who have served, roughly 7% of the adult population. Their service spans World War II to our latest conflicts in the Middle East. On Veterans Day, we honor the brave men and women from all walks of life who have stepped forward to defend our nation throughout our history. The U.S. now has the largest population of young veterans since the Vietnam War. We owe it to these men and women to make sure that they transition from active duty to careers with skills and experience to find meaningful employment. Regardless of the military branch in which our veterans have served, be it the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guards, or Space Force, this day belongs to them. Generations of patriots dedicated themselves to the defense of our country to make us stronger and more resilient as a nation. Members of the military live by the values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. They do not leave behind their values and skills when they transition to civilian life, maintaining a lifelong identification with the military. Right now, all around the country, our veterans from all the services are teachers, doctors, engineers, social workers, community leaders, first responders, and elected officials. They continue to serve our community by making positive contributions, building stronger futures, and inspiring the next generation. Our nation's veterans throughout our history have kept us free, returned home, and continued to serve a nation in a multitude of ways. Today, we say thanks to all of them. Thank you for inviting me here today and the privilege to address this town. Thank you so much for your service. God bless America.
It's hard for me to hear him thank us, because the thanks actually go in the other direction. Thank you. Thank you. No event would be complete without the American Legion Post number 43. We are daily grateful for their service and their contribution to our community. They will now provide our rifle volley.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand through the rifle volley and the renderance of taps. Sergeant at Arms, take charge.
Right. Ready? And fire. Ready? And fire. Ready? And fire. Left. Ready, hit.
I can't help smiling. The playing of taps was very special today. I have known this young man since he was born. Actually, before he was born, I talked to his parents a lot. Sully is the son of Councilman Alan Garrison and his mother, Melissa. He's a student with the 8th grade at Banks Trail Middle School here in Fort Mill, and we are so very proud of Sully. Great job and a wonderful contribution to today. So in wrapping up today, I would again like to point out our sorority here that is offering care packages, and thank you for being with us today. With that, let's never forget the service of those who make us free. Thank you so much for joining us today.